Rick Keogh's here. I just saw, he must have just jumped on. So let's give it a minute. It is Rick. Just gonna make.
Chuck, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, Rick.
Thank you.
Just in case Chris Haley wants to chime in, I'll make him co-host also. All right, we're on, right? So everyone's in?
Sure. Good for a second.
Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone. This is Chuck Tirone, Reading's Conservation Administrator. This meeting will be conducted in person and remote format consistent with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, which will further extend COVID-19 measures regarding remote participation in public meeting until June 30th, 2027. Please note that not all items listed may be in fact discussed, and other items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. These agenda items include those matters which can be reasonably anticipated to be discussed at the meeting. Please note that this meeting is being recorded, which I have to do as soon as I'm finished. And all materials are available at the Conservation Commission page, or the Conservation Division page under projects by year. And Brian Bowe is the commission chair, and he will facilitate this meeting. Please note that there will be a public comment period at the end of each hearing. Each vote taken tonight will be conducted by roll call vote. We'll begin with roll call attendance. Brian, can you go over tonight's agenda and then take the roll call attendance? Oh, Tim did make it.
Okay, good. Call to order 7:03. This is a roll call. This is the order that we will vote in. We'll start with Walter.
Walter Talbot, member present.
Chirag.
Chirag Stalekar, member present.
Rick.
Rick Keogh, member present.
Em.
Give me a second.
Yeah, I didn't know.
He just got in.
Hang on, Martha, we'll get to you in a second.
Let's say it again, I guess.
Tim, can you let us know you're there? Or not? Tim, can
You just
hear us?
muted yourself, Tim.
Okay, we'll come back to him when he says hello. In the meantime, Martha?
Martha Moore, Vice Chair present.
Okay, I'll go over the, present? Yes, Brian Bowe, Chair present. Thank you, Walter. Point of order, yeah. Okay, go over the agenda. First is 26 Whittier. That's opening a public meeting on request for determination. To be followed by 3 hearings that all will be continued. The first is 281 Main Street, which will be continued to the 24th. That is a notice of intent. Then the Zero Track Road, which is a continuation of a notice of intent, also will be continued to the 24th. And lastly, for hearings, there's Oakland Road in Birch Meadow. This is a hearing, opening hearing on a RDA. Actually, that's not opening, that's continuing the hearing on an RDA. And that will be continued until the 24th. That's it for our hearings. Then we have a few discussion items and some old and new business to cover. Having said that, Tim, can you hear me now? Okay. Whenever he comes in, we'll slot him in the order. Okay, first is 26 Whittier Road. Can you go to the podium and introduce yourself and your address?
John McCabe from JL McKay Builders, representing Ron and Catherine Caponegro, 26 Whittier Road. We're looking to add a second-story addition, same footprint of the existing home. And we are within the buffer zone. So we had proposed, just a trench drip drain just to control roof runoff. I know currently there is a driveway kind of dry well that's picking up some of the water. My thought was not to overwhelm that because we are adding a secondary roof, on the side, kind of a hip roof. So the thought with the drip drain was just, again, to just control more roof runoff as to not overwhelm the driveway drain and have water, getting into the garage and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, we'll have some erosion control out back. There is a fence pretty far back in the yard with some plantings. My proposal was for, either wattles or hay bales with like a silt fence, just to control any debris, things like that. I know they had pointed out some, burning bushes on the front of the building, where I had proposed more drip drainage. Those, if we had to get rid of them, we certainly could and replace them with, say a red twig dogwood or maple leaf viburnum, native Massachusetts species. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Questions from the commission? I can't see hands raised on you, the away team, so if Chuck can try. Chirag, I see your hand is up. Can you go?
Yep, the questions we had was the side trench. Did we need a trench on the side?
I don't think we necessarily need it. I think it was just kind of out of an abundance of caution.
Well, if I could jump in there. So at the time, we were thinking that it wasn't a hip roof, but now it's a hip roof. You have water coming down all four sides.
It is. I
It
mean,
probably makes sense.
I think it makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else, Chirag?
Nope, that's it.
Anybody else out there have your hand up?
Martha.
Martha, can you go, please?
Sure. I'm curious, are you planning to have gutters on the roof or will it just drip off the roof edges right into the drip trench?
The plan is to have gutters to control it and put it where we want.
And where will the gutters drain into?
That will be into the drainage, into perforated pipe, landscape fabric, crushed stone, approximately 2 feet of crushed stone with the perforated pipe on top wrapped in landscape fabric. So no soil can, penetrate it. And then the water will just kind of disperse as it flows in the pipe.
So the downspouts will lead into this perforated pipe, which will be set into the drip trench.
Correct.
Okay, that sounds good. I wouldn't have asked them to take out the burning bush, but it looked like the orange line you drew was going right across them, that you would need to dig them up to get the drip trench in.
We were close to them. I kind of oversized the orange line. Just I had marked it for dig safe. So just, again, kind of out of an abundance of caution. I know I was right in between, the three of them. So yeah, obviously when we're excavating, could damage the root. So, why not remove them if that's the case?
Okay, yeah, if that's not a burden, I would certainly prefer to have natives like the maple leaf viburnum and the dogwood instead of the bushes there. And you've shown the erosion control sort of halfway back in the yard, so there will be no work beyond that erosion control.
No, all the work is on the existing building. All our materials and everything are all in the front. Obviously, access to the back is limited. So, yeah, I mean, we'll be hard pressed to get a mini excavator back there, so, yeah.
Okay. And I see the construction entrance and I see the stockpile for construction material. What about a soil stockpile from anything you dig?
Would probably. I mean, it would be inside where the erosion control is. You know, because it's such a small trench, it would probably be right next to it, you know, so maybe 4 feet, you know, off the wall. You know, give or take, so it's, you know, it doesn't need to be a huge, you know, trench, so it's not too much soil, but yeah, I would just kind of, you know, trench it and put the dirt from where we dug right next to it, so it's kind of a berm almost.
And then what will happen to that dirt afterwards? Is it just gonna stay right there?
No, it'll get backfilled, you know, obviously, you know, there were some questions about grade from the building department, just with some frost protection and things like that, so actually building up the grade along the building would, you know, help. I think it wouldn't be much, maybe an additional, you know, 6-8 inches coming up the foundation.
Okay. I have no more questions.
Tim, Rick, do you have anything? I can't see you.
No questions, Brian.
The only thing I want to say is you mentioned the mini excavator. So there's not a lot of space between your erosion control. What we're seeing sometimes is the operators get a little carried away and roll over the erosion control. I don't know if it's going to be you or somebody else, but just be careful they stay inside the erosion
Yeah.
control.
Yeah, of course.
That's the only thing I had. The others were asked. Chuck, do you have anything?
I just follow up on your question. I'd like to know, again, with the excavators, we like to have something visible. And usually we don't like straw wattle. So if you could use silt fence, that would be great because it's at least tall enough, or straw wattle and construction fencing because it's orange.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, anything else? Chuck, you all set?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then it sounds like we're pretty much, well, is there any public commentary? Anybody online have anything they want to comment on, or ask the question they want to ask? Hearing none, seeing none. Can I have a motion to close the hearing on 26 Whittier?
I move to close the hearing on 26 Whittier.
Walter Talbot seconds. Walter Talbot's in favor.
Chirag Stalicker in favor.
Rick Keough in favor.
Martha Moore in favor.
Brian Bowe in favor.
Any
Okay,
sign of Tim? Did he say anything yet?
haven't said anything yet, and he's not online or not visible. Okay, then this is an RDA, so can I, actually, Marcia, can you give a motion for what we want to do with the RDA?
Sure.
Unless you want to talk about conditions before you get to the motion.
That's a good point. Thank you. What conditions do we want to add to this? We have the one about the
Erosion control.
fence, erosion control.
And I think we're agreed on replacing the burning bush with native species.
That's it. Okay, those are the conditions. So now can I have a motion to issue?
I move, in order to allow this project to go forward, I move for a negative determination of applicability.
Walter Talbot seconds. Walter Talbot's in favor.
Chirag Stalicker in favor.
Rick Keough in favor.
Martha Moore in favor.
No in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving right along. 281 Main Street, as I said in the preliminaries, This will be continued to June 24th. Have a motion to that effect?
Let me just pause to say, it looks like Tim Michelle is not a co-host, and that may be why he's not able to be heard and unmuted.
Okay, so while Chuck's checking that, can you make a motion?
Sorry, what are we?
A motion to continue 281 Main Street to June 24th.
I move to continue 281 Main Street to June 24th.
Walter Talbot seconds, Walter Talbot's in favor.
Chuck Slicker in favor.
Rick Keo in favor.
Martha Moore in favor.
Brian Bowe in favor.
And Tim, can you hear us?
Tim, can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, can you just say you're present and then you can vote on this?
Tim Michelle present, Tim Michelle in favor.
Thank you. Okay, the next one is Zero Track Road. This one will also be continued to June 24th. Can I have a motion for that?
Zero Track Road, I move to continue to June 24th.
Walter Talbot seconds it, Walter Talbot's in favor.
Chuck Slicker in favor.
Rick Keo in favor.
Martha Moore in favor.
Tim Michelle in favor.
Brian Bowe in favor. Okay. Last hearing for tonight is Open Road in Birch Meadow. This has already been continued to June 24th, so we don't need to vote on that. And that is it for the hearings. Now we get to discussion items and vote items. The first one is request for a certificate of compliance for 1153 Main Street. Is anybody online for that, Chuck?
No.
No. Okay. So I'm gonna start this off. We did a site visit there this past week. There were a number of us there. We saw some issues that raised questions. The first one was that in addition to the stairs that are shown on the plan, there's a secondary set of stairs going out perpendicular to that, which goes down to a platform partway to the ground, turns 90 degrees and goes the rest of the way to the ground. It's going to a path that's also not on the plan. So there's a structure not in the plan, and there's a path not in the plan. Additionally, well, those are the only things I think we talk about in the conditions. We did see evidence that erosion control had been pulled, so that's good. There were trees growing there which were clearly planted as part of this, even though not in the conditions, and they're in good shape, which is great. So from my perspective, and others can, well, why don't we do discussions first, and then I'll give you my perspective. Any other comments, observations on that?
I think it might be informative to the commission if I let them know what I know about why some things have happened.
Of course.
So the owner's name is Darlene Stoddard, and she came in. This is one of those notices of intent that took a long time to even get to a point where we were going to review it. So I got to know Darlene quite well. And when she came in and did the garage, after that garage had been finished, she also wanted to work on her porch. And I told her at that time that her permit was still in effect, and I thought it would be appropriate, since it's in the outer 100-foot area of the buffer zone, to go ahead and do the work, which I reviewed the plans. I knew what it was, and we would pick up this this difference on the as-built plan. And so I felt like it was small enough to cover, you know, what was being worked on. So anyways, for good or for bad, she had my permission to proceed under the existing permit.
Anybody else have comments?
Do we have an as-built plan for this project?
Yeah, it's on the board.
I don't see the new stairs on that as-built plan.
I don't think the stairs made it on the as-built plan,
They're not there.
as-built.
Yeah. So I think they would need to get added to the as-built plan so that they are recorded as existing. Because the stairs heading toward the driveway are there, but there's another set of stairs heading down on this piece of paper that is not there, and there's a gravel path heading into a door at the side of the garage.
Yeah.
And my concern about giving a certificate of completion is that there is loose topsoil with no plantings on both sides of that path that leads to the garage. So I'd like to see seed of some sort to stabilize that soil before we confirm that this project is complete.
My observation was they had the trenches looking from the street towards the garage, on the left side and the right side of the garage. But the down spouts from the gutters were draining into diverters which jumped over the trench rather than discharge into the trenches.
Anything else?
I'm not sure that those were even trenches. It just looked to me like they spread gravel outwards from the garage, but that trench that was described by the previous contractor we just spoke with sounds like a much more suitable way of absorbing the water. And this, it didn't seem like the gravel went down 2 feet and had French drains and landscape fabric. And I wonder if the,
Martha?
yeah,
Martha, can we let Chuck speak to that for a moment? Because he
Sure.
had eyes on back in the day.
So I did see the trench when they were made, and that they were deep. I didn't see the stone going in it or not, but I did talk to Darlene when she came in the other day to talk about the site visit report, and asked her to turn the downspouts so that the water goes into the drip trench. And she said she would be able to do that quite easily. And but you know, they were dug 2 foot by 2 foot when I was there. I don't want to be, you know, even or say something that sounds like it's a conspiracy. So I'm going to say that I saw that this was completed correctly.
good. That's all I was going to ask was, is there any eyes or photographs that would demonstrate what's going on under the top layer?
I dug down the left side and the right side. The right side, I was able to dig quite deep before I found any soil. On the left side, looking at the garage, I hit soil after around 3 or 4 inches. So it's not 100% stone, but
Maybe, yeah, maybe in that area. Yeah, was that out by the front of it? Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? There wasn't any keystone on site when I saw this, but it did look like they met the standard, which was to have a trench next to the garage.
The mitigating factor there is that they do have gutters, bring it to a downspout that's in the back of the garage, not front where you were concerned about the depth. And as long as they turn the bottom so it doesn't jump the trench, but it goes into the trench at the back, I'd be willing to.
well, I'm sure they're working fine.
So from my perspective, there's no more questions, I'll give you my perspective. My perspective is I'd like to accept this with the condition that this plan gets updated, not necessarily by an engineer, it doesn't have to be formal and complete, but even hand sketch in where the stairs and the path are. So it's there in the future, should this get additional work on it. I'd like to also point out that the 100-foot buffer line is not on it at this point. I would not suggest that gets hand drawn in, but just to note that. Anybody, any discussion on that suggestion?
I'm still concerned about the topsoil not being stabilized on either side of that path.
Okay, so you want to add then that they throw down some seed there? It's clear that they're going to, but to put it formally into our request that they put it down essentially now.
And then would Chuck go back and check to make sure it has taken and there is no
Yeah.
erosion,
Either
rivulets?
Chuck would, or we could, one of us, yeah, so we would look at it shortly to see that it's actually happened.
I guess I'm okay with that. It seemed like maybe we should just postpone giving them the certificate for another couple of meetings and go back and look at it once the grass has grown.
We certainly could do that.
Is there any urgency to get this certificate now?
I'm not sure. Chuck, is there any urgency?
I don't know of any.
All right, I wanted to make a motion to that effect.
Actually, just one quick question. I don't know if it was addressed, but those two trees, there was a question about their age. Like,
Yeah, they're actually not in the conditions,
okay,
Chirag,
okay.
although we did see them and they were in good condition. That doesn't prove anything.
No, I think there was a question about the 3-year, but they, yeah, okay, since they are in good condition.
Good time to let them know. Like I had talked about this with Brian when he a little bit this afternoon, and Brian reminded me that not every order of conditions in the past, we used to add a 3-year condition on survivability. So
So there obviously is one where it wasn't done. So if it's not in there, we can't hold them to it. But the good
Okay.
news is the trees are doing well.
So are you saying that we asked them to plant the trees, but we did not put a survivability?
yes, that's what it
okay.
seems like.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Okay. Then you were going to make a motion to delay for a couple months or something, a couple meetings.
Yeah, I'd like to move to the first meeting in July so that we have a chance to go back and see how the grass is doing and make sure the soil is stabilized.
Do you think that's long enough to be confident?
I don't know.
I'm not saying it's
How long
not,
does it take grass to grow?
depending whether you're watching it or not.
Thank you.
Should we go first meeting in August?
Yeah, I think that's fine. As long as you're going to bump it out and there's no urgency. First week in August, so the first meeting in August.
August 12th.
Okay.
I move we continue this discussion to August 12th and go back on August 10th to check on the stabilization of the soil.
Walter Talbot seconds, Walter Talbot's in favor.
Chirag Staliker in favor.
Rick Keogh in favor.
Martha Moore in favor.
Tim Michelle in favor.
Brian Bowe in favor. Okay. Good. Next is 24 Pinevale Ave, and this is a discussion. It's not the subject of an application at this point. Martha, do you want to briefly summarize this? And I emphasize briefly because we're trying to set a record.
Okay, we went to 24 Pinevale, and the plan online does not show dimensions of the proposed addition, but we estimated that it would come out to about the corner of a raised bed they have in their backyard, and we measured from there to the culvert where there's a stream that connects it to the wetland, and that was just about 35 feet. So I think we would need dimensions on the plan and a distance measured to that nearest point of the wetland to be able to consider this project. We also noted there was a large silver maple overhanging the garage, and that there was a small amount of yard waste in the back of the yard near the stream. Certainly not egregious. And discussion of there was a patio shown on the plan that would be closer to the wetland than this addition, and the addition would be 35 feet from the wetland, so the patio would be a structure within the no structure zone. When we talked to the homeowner, he suggested he could put the patio further away on a different side of the addition. That all being said, I was looking at it as I think it really ought to be a notice of intent and not an RDA, given the closeness to the wetland.
So let me add one thing to that argument. In addition to what you said about the distance, I agree, it's close enough. I'd want to see an actual measurement. But also, he just drew in the approximate wetland boundary. And I would say it's close, but I think this whole thing is close enough that we'd want to have it delineated by a wetland scientist so we can be sure. So I agree that if they want to move forward, we'd be looking for an LI.
I would like to see where the heck that culvert drains to.
I guess I'd like to know curiosity wise, but I don't think it affects this project.
Like the location of where they are, where it actually is.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, if they're going to do a plan, maybe that would show one. Yeah, it really didn't bother me that much, just other than where's that going? Any other comments, questions, observations? Okay, then I think we're in agreement that Chuck, you can talk to them.
Sure.
Maybe looking for an LI.
So,
Did you hit a chord?
I don't know, I might have. So yeah, it was called up by 24 Pineville Ave. They have a project in mind, and they asked the commission to go out there to let them know two things. What permit do they need? And that, I heard that tonight, which is a notice of intent. And will they be required to delineate the wetlands? And it sounds like both those are true. So I'll let them know that, and I'll send them an email tomorrow.
Yes, the wetlands is not a clear and obvious line by visual.
I also think the one, I know the wetland delineation for the Pinevale and Main Street project, Strata.
Yeah.
Falls very short of this property.
Mm.
So it would be good if we had some of that information for this property. That would make a difference, but we don't.
Okay, so then is 1295 Main Street. This is request for certificate of compliance. And before we get into that, hang on one second. I have to point out that when we met with you in the last meeting, we did it incorrectly. My fault. But the issue was that because you weren't on the agenda, we could have gotten information, but not deliberate or anything. The first issue, the prior one, which is the real issue, is if you remember, we had closed, then we were surprised that we hadn't gotten to you. And we reopened, but we didn't do that properly. We didn't take a vote. And so basically what we're going to do here is recap what we did last time and then have the more formal process at the end. Okay? Now, please give a presentation you'd like to show us. Can you give us your name and address, please?
So yeah, hi everyone. We are here, Ahmed and Maha, my wife. We are the owners.
Can you say your name fully? sir?
Yeah. My name is Ahmed Abdel Galil and Maha Fagil Noor, my wife. We are the owners for 1295 Main Street. We purchased our house 2023 with order of condition, DP file number 2700749. And we are here tonight to request kindly the certificate of compliance. So a little bit of background. So the house constructed in accordance to with the approved plan and order of conditions. The buffer area remains intact. There was no erosion observed or disturbance in the area. So the ground cover and natural vegetation established throughout the site. Majority of required or most of the required planting have survived and well established. So a little bit of a background. And as we can see here, this is just a snapshot on how it looks. I just took it last weekend. So it shows, as you can see, healthy, dense, native and established planting in the area throughout the buffer zone and with established ground cover, no erosion and with the shrub layer. So I think that was really all good signs. Also, the protected zone shows natural volunteer growth and the ecological function. So that's another thing was observed. So some trees were lost in the area. I just put it here in the table as per your site visit. So as here, the main root cause is the deer browsing confirmed by the site inspection. So it's basically not because of the construction nor the vegetation issues. And as we can see here, in this picture, so there are some 2-3 trees previously assessed as unlikely to survive now show evidence of budding and leaf emergence, potential recovery. So which is also a good sign. Again, last weekend, I just had a look and took some pictures. Overall, there is no erosion, no buffer disturbance, no encroachment into protected zones. So multiple other plants survived. So it seems this is an isolated issue, no systemic issue. Also, there is 2 walnut trees, volunteer trees grow on its own. So that's pretty much the main observation. And the root cause identified was basically for deer browsing, confirmed as a primary cause of planting mortality. So again, no evidence of erosion or stormwater impact or other site-related conditions affecting planting survival. The Commission acknowledged this factor in the prior meetings. No evidence of owner negligence or improper maintenance. And we also discussed about some protective measures for the trees in the future. So 3-foot protective fencing to be installed around replacement plantings, fencing installation at the time of planting, fencing to be maintained throughout the establishment period. And this would be addressing the underlying cause and prevent recurrence. So that was what the main outcome for previous discussions. And here I just summarized the main Commission site visit findings. Again, probably 8 trees identified as dead or unlikely to survive. There was no significant concerns identified regarding erosion, buffer disturbance, or encroachment. The deer damage observed and discussed during the site inspection, and probably because we had a really cold winter last time, so that the deers were just looking for food, so which is part of the ecosystem. So today we are just again based on our discussion, summarize the two options as a mitigation for the commission to decide. So the first one is on-site replanting for the 8 trees. So replacing the identified trees with the same species or comparable native species approved by the commission. With that, we're gonna replace 8 trees in original and or comparable location within the buffer zone. Supplemental irrigation will be provided during establishment with watering coordinated by the owner or landscape contractors until property transfer. So with the 3 feet foot protective fencing installed at the time of planting, that would be mitigating the deer browse damage as the primary cause of plant loss. There will be still remaining some risk, but at least we put some protection for that. There are some cost estimates. So one action I took from last time is to get some quotations for the trees. So I got 2 quotations. Mahoney's Garden Center quoted approximately 4,300, including planting and 1-year warranty after planting. We will be providing supplemental water and install protective deer fencing as mentioned. And also we are willing to work with the commission on appropriate financial assurance mechanism like holdback or whatever you see valid if deemed necessary to ensure implementation and survivability requirements. So that's the first option. Moving to the alternative mitigation, which seems to be simpler and durable. So in lieu of the site replanting, provide equivalent conservation value through a donation or directed planting at the commission approved location. Preferably do planting in fall, as we heard last time, for better survival of plants. Also, there will be a warranty 1 year by the landscaper if not planted in a correct way. So that would be a simple path. The contribution based on the estimated replacement value, same value as collected, either option 1 or 2 of the identified trees, directed to commission approved conservation fund or town planting program. The tree planted will be planted in a location and the species mix determined by the commission where deer pressure is lower and survival rate are much higher. So lower risk on further to be eaten by the deers. And the existing protected vegetation zone on the property remains fully intact and continues to provide buffer functions. So there is no harm on the property as well. And this, again, as mentioned, it seems to be more simple from long-term administration perspective. So the conservation objective would be achieved through commission-directed mitigation without requiring future replacement planting at the property. Also, the trees would be planted in a commission-approved location and monitored under town oversight. So again, like no requirement for owner monitoring or holdbacks or ongoing compliance tracking for at the property. So those were the main 2 options. Why we are requesting for certificate of compliance as of now. The property may transfer ownership in the near future. Defined compliance path would provide clarity for all parties while ensuring the continued protection of the resource area. And with that, we're gonna have conservation objectives met, remaining gap would be identified and manageable. And again, we are here to provide this proposal in a good faith to allow any mitigation required. Also, clarity on the ongoing compliance and issue with conditions or defined paths provides a clear framework for all parties. This is our last slide. So basically, we respectfully request that the commission review the proposed approaches on site replanting, either option 1, which is replanting, or option 2 for off-site mitigation. Consider the photographic evidence as needed of site conditions, planting survival and partial tree recovery, and determine whether either approach may support the issuance of certificate of compliance. And finally, confirm that either approach ensure the continued protection of the resource area and conservation objectives. So thank you for your guidance and support.
Thank you. Comments, questions from the commission? Anybody online first?
Can we go to option 1 again, if you don't mind?
Sure.
Just give me a moment to read it again.
Sure.
While you're reading, does anybody else have a comment they want to make?
Well, ignoring the issue of the transfer, I'll speak from personal experience. This past winter, my trees got girdled as tall as 6 foot. So I don't know, deer fencing should be higher than 3 feet, I think. That may take care of the rabbits unless we have 3 foot of snow. But I think the deer fencing is too short.
Anything else? Walter, what's that? Shirag, you said on your read?
Yeah, I was just trying to understand, like, if like the part where if there is a transfer of property, how does that? I think we had that question last time as well. How does the next owner? How do we make sure that they have?
Yep, noted.
Yeah.
Anybody else out there have any comments, questions?
Yeah, I agree with both Schrag and Walter that those are issues with this project. In option 2, the homeowner mentions planting in the fall, and I had originally suggested planting in the fall, assuming that there would be a new owner living there for option 1. I think for option 2, planting could be done at whatever time Chuck and whoever is deciding where the plants go would decide also when to plant them. But my concern was if they plant the trees in option 1 and then the home, usually it takes 60 days or so to pass papers on the home is sitting there and the new owners are not watering the plants and the previous owners are not there to make sure that they're really being watered. So it's a high risk that your plants don't survive because there's nobody living in the house to do the work. So I guess my thought is option 2 is a lot simpler.
I agree with that. I think option 2.
Anything from you, Rick or Tim?
So
It's $4,300 equivalent value for option 2 and 1, roughly.
Yes.
I'm okay with
Yeah,
option 2.
If from the looks of it, the material is the same. The one includes about $300 for the installation.
Yeah.
So basically the trees are the same, give or take.
Okay.
I think
I'm in
option 2
favor
is
of
a much
option.
better option.
Sorry, Tim, I couldn't hear you.
I think option 2 is a much better option for
Okay.
everyone involved.
So from my perspective, I agree, option 2 is cleaner. You folks can move on with your life and enjoy Texas. And we will have the money to deal with trees as we need, where we need. And this seems to be the best way to satisfy the needs of the act as well as your needs. So can I have a motion to the effect that we will issue a certificate of compliance? Oh, I didn't give Chuck a chance. I apologize.
Yeah, let's not issue that yet. Only because that you probably want to think about what conditions that you're gonna, can't add any conditions, but
Yeah.
I think you're restating the conditions that are in the order of conditions. So I think you need to be clear that even though you're accepting option 2, what's out there in the 25-foot area is to be
Still
maintained in perpetuity. We're just not adding any other plants. You have to discuss if this survivability goes away or not. I didn't know if the commission feels comfortable with the site walk that already happened as a plant review and a certificate of compliance site walk. If you feel satisfied with all that.
Yeah, it was heavily.
So it's
leaning
really-
towards plant review. We definitely covered all the plants.
Yeah, and get the right page.
Chuck, yes, I felt confident that the zone of natural vegetation was in fact functioning as intended. And just, we are short some trees, but some of the trees that we were concerned about are actually on the opposite side of the house. So they're more landscape screening trees between that house and the neighbors as opposed to zone of natural vegetation trees. And there's enough shrubs in the zone of natural vegetation that it's clearly not lawn there. It's not like the lawn is going to grow into the zone of natural vegetation without the trees that are missing.
Right, and we did count, and the shrubs was over 80% survival rate.
Yeah, and the ground cover looks good. So I wouldn't recommend this option if it were not for the good survival of the shrubs. Maybe they were under the 3 feet of snow and therefore the deer didn't eat the shrubs, just only the tree bark.
Okay, so we should talk, so it sounds like you're comfortable moving forward, and I did check the agenda, it does say request for a certificate of compliance, so it's appropriate to move forward with that also. And so I wrote down a few things. Maintain the granite bounds and signage, maintain the health of the plants that are in the 25-foot zone. These are all in perpetuity, but are also already stated in the order of conditions. Just be pulling all that things that are supposed to be in perpetuity into the certificate of compliance, so it's known again. And that would include not allowing any of the grasses to choke out some of the smaller plants. Martha, you were there. Is that still needed, that some trimming is needed around the plants?
Probably would be a good idea. Yeah. Some of the blueberry bushes are kind of the same height as the other plants around them.
So before I write water as needed, is the survivability, what happens with that? Does that go away with this agreement, or?
Haven't we made it 3 years?
Yes. Well, we've made it 3 years, and it sounds like you're going for option number 2, so there's nothing to look at again.
Nope, yeah.
But that area is supposed to be maintained, so we couldn't, the next owner just couldn't give up on it and let it die out.
Doesn't that transfer to the new owner?
It does.
regardless?
Everything goes with the property, so I'm just
Yeah, no, I
just-
just,
churning a little bit, so someone may come up with a condition that I didn't think about, but just want to make sure we're covering those bases.
Yeah, and just as mentioned last time by Maha, we really, like, the loan took like minimum maintenance from our side. We were just keeping an eye on, we didn't want to go like in the surrounding for this area beyond the granite posts. But like it took really minimum. We didn't do a special care for the planting or like anything, so it went smoothly. So like just to let you know, so we don't anticipate to have any issues
Yeah,
with the new
it's
owners.
probably close enough to groundwater too.
Yeah, exactly. So just
Damp,
just making sure
Yeah.
having,
Yeah, because of the driveway, it's permeable to water, so anything, just goes there, so it's also helping for the
Yeah.
growth. And yeah, we have the granite is going to stay, right? So everyone, whoever is coming after, after that zone, we cannot make any loan or anything like that.
that's why the bounds has to stay in place.
Yeah.
Somebody who didn't live through it could
Yeah.
see where the line is.
I guess one condition I'd like to add is to make sure that the new owners understand that it is beneficial to cut back the invasive species. I know that's an area where the bittersweet keeps trying to come in. So I don't know exactly how to write that as a condition, but, you know, make sure that the new owners understand that zone of natural vegetation doesn't mean you can't touch it. It just means you can only eliminate the invasives that are trying to come in.
You're gonna meet with the owners, will you be there or will be remote for you guys?
Yeah, so whoever comes, we clearly explain about like what we were doing and the
Yeah, I just
posts
didn't know if
and
you're gonna
then-
be there at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
It would be good then to pass on some of the things you know, things to pay attention to. I mean, it's in the conditions, they get transferred automatically, but it would be useful to point it out to them.
I have not visited the site, so bear with me on my question. So right now, there are almost a dozen dead trees just look on the ground.
The house is like this, the right-hand side is where the wetlands are and towards the back. On the right-hand side, there are many bushes, there's trees scattered around, not a line of trees. Some of the trees on the right-hand side, especially I'd say the back right, there's the two witch hazels back there, those are the ones that served as lunch. There were a couple on the left-hand side, the ones that were not in great shape, they're showing some buds, maybe they make it, maybe they don't. But no, it's not like a whole line of soldiers will take it.
So the discussion of you have dead trees on your property that I'm about to buy is between them and the new party. We don't get involved in that at all.
Right, so if we choose option 2, we're giving them a certificate. They are given some money that we would use to plant trees somewhere in our jurisdiction. We're counting on them to transfer some knowledge, point out the responsibility, but new owners aren't going to leave dead trees in place, right? And so if you encourage them to plant, that would be great. But per this certificate, we're not making that mandatory. We're not mandating replanting there in the same places.
Yeah, I think that would be great even for the ones which is showing survivability. So there are trees now, 3 ones, which is in the backyard, I believe Martha pointed to that. So it was basically like at your visit, it was having much less leaves. Now it's getting like growing quickly. So hopefully again, while keeping this, I would hate to take it out even if I'm doing that is option 1, but yeah, just keep giving a chance to survive.
And the
Yeah.
only other thing, which I know is in the order of conditions, is a requirement to let the new owners, you give them the old order of conditions and they acknowledge that they understand that this is in a wetland buffer zone and there's requirements that continue on that. And usually we get that, kind of during the process of this turnover. So sometimes the lawyer sends it to us, sometimes homeowner sends it to us, but it also includes contact information. So if we're driving past and we see something happening, we can reach out. That's it. That's all I have.
Okay, so unless we need further discussion, do we want to vote on issuing or not?
Can I just make one more comment? Since Walter was questioning these dead trees, I don't think any of these are hazardous dead trees because none of them are more than about 10 feet tall and 2-inch diameter. They're not, something you would need to take down for safety because they never got that big yet.
No, I would imagine to take it down for view, not safety.
Right. Yeah. But it's not something you'd need to call in a tree company for.
So can I have a motion to issue COC for 1295 Main Street?
And the condition of that motion would be paying 4,300 into the
Use
conservation?
Option two as presented by the applicant, which is essentially giving them that, and they would pay us money. Actually, I was going to suggest, now I think about it, that we ask for 4,000, not the 43, since the 300 was for installation. So we asked for the trees and not for installing them, because obviously under option two, we'd be installing them somewhere.
Or we'd be paying someone to install them, and therefore we would need some money for the installation.
I was just thinking of the model Bear Meadow.
Well, what's
That was
Chuck's
late.
opinion?
He's thinking.
You know, to be honest, I thought we were done, but it's really my thought.
Yeah.
Do you want, so you're asking me if, so typically, when we're installing trees, it's done by volunteers, but when we discuss this at the meeting, that, you know, we have to talk about everything again, so we might as well discuss it at this meeting. I think it was a good point to say, since the applicants aren't going to be there, since we don't understand the watering, if we could have them pay for and plant the trees in a spot and a time of our location, that would be the best option. Because then, you know, I wouldn't have to find labor, I wouldn't have to find, you know, I could just direct, which would be pretty good in this environment, you know, because we're already into our summer planting and volunteer season, and all of my weeks are already mapped out on what we're doing.
And that's fine. I mean, so that brings us back to the 4,300 for both material and the planting. All right, how about a motion?
I move to issue a certificate of compliance for 1295 Main Street with the condition that the applicants donate $4,300 to the Conservation Tree Fund?
Conservation Commission Fund.
Conservation Commission Fund.
Walter Talbot seconds that motion. Walter Talbot's in favor.
Chirag Stalikar in favor.
Rick Keough in favor.
Martha Moore in favor.
Michelle in favor.
Brian Bowe in favor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for
Good
your
luck.
support. Thank you so much.
Okay. That's it for vote items. Now we have old new business. One last time, there's still a fraction of time left for anybody interested in joining the commission. Obviously, volunteer interviews have been ongoing, but the last ones are tomorrow. So I guess theoretically, if you jumped in there, you'd have a chance to get in. I'm not sure exactly how real that is, but I wanted to mention it one more time that we are looking for people to join us. Okay, next is a reminder on the second annual Green Communities Garden Party, Thursday, June 18th. So that is next Thursday at the library from 6 to 8 down in the community room. I believe we have a number of people volunteered for that already. We don't need a lot. Has anybody else decided they would love to be there in the community room? If so, just let me know and we can show up there. I will be there. Next is Friends and Family Day, June 20th. So that's next Saturday, 10:30 to 3. We will have a table and a tent set up by the town. And we have some plans for material to have at the table. And one of those was a newly printed plan of the town with the green spaces.
I believe the large format printer is down. and has been down for a while, so I'll do what I can.
All right, we can talk about that. We can talk about
But we should also, just ask commissioners, because we mentioned that we want to bring stuff. I think Martha said she'll go and grab some invasives and have those ID'd on the table. There could be other things that we're doing. I think we'll have some of our, one of the horrible things of spring is down on Mill Street, which is right near Lobbs Pond, which is a conservation area, Marion Woods. Very much near Martha's neck of the woods. We've lost 7 turtles. Yeah, some of them are snapping turtles, some of them are painted turtles, but there's spotted turtles also down there. And person that's always around conservation areas and on the Trails Committee, Will Finch, has made up his own signs. But where we tried to order some signs quickly last week, we ran out of money. But so we went with the cheapest ones, and we won't get them for another week or so. But when they come in, we're gonna plant them right away. So maybe when those signs come in, we can bring them to the table and explain what's happening. Like, no one's noticing the lumps on the road, and those are turtles. And you have to be careful, because these turtles can't make their way up the current and can't get over the rocks when there's no current. So they're walking up and over the berm, and they're getting whacked on the road. So
I will say in Stowe, Mass, they have places where they have, in some cases, handmade signs saying turtle crossing. In other cases, they're more professionally done, so maybe that's the town, I don't know, but they clearly might in amphibian crossings.
we'll do anything to I mean, I don't remember this many being hit by cars. So I believe there's a piece of a shell that can be brought. It's a little morbid, but it'll spur on the conversation.
Yeah.
And I think the end justifies the means. And Walter is probably volunteering to be our spokesman as he rolls his eyes about this. But I just want to have a conversation with everyone that may go down that road. It's a cut through to 93 for sure.
Do you think this is a particular seasonal issue? Are they migrating to lay eggs and that's what's getting them?
Yeah, so the snappers are out there nesting, and they do visit once a evening or once 24 hours. I'm not sure about the spotted turtles, but the painted turtles are probably the same.
I used to see the snapping turtles in the center of the field where the water treatment plant used to be.
Mhm.
They'd haul out somewhere around there and almost in the middle of the field, the eggs. Okay, next, Chuck, anything about the conservation DPW meeting?
Oh, well, before you go on to that, have we figured out our staffing? I know Sharad said he could do morning,
Yep.
so,
I'll be there in the morning.
okay. So if I got there 12:30 or 1 o'clock and covered the last couple of hours, and I can bring the plants, the invasive plants first thing, do we have anybody else who wants to join me for the last half of the
I
day?
think we should have two, if only to help break it down and carry things to the car. So it would be good if somebody else could help cover the end.
I have a constraint, but I can be there for the first hour.
Which hour are we talking?
The first hour. he said.
First hour.
10:30 to 11:30? Okay. So it sounds like I'm the only one in the
So
afternoon.
it's like 1 to 1.
It's
11
10:30
to
to
1
3.
is the time that we need filled in.
Yeah, I'll try and get back for the last half hour or so, just to help with the load out, but
Yeah, I can wait to help you, Martha.
Well, but if you've taken on the morning, I don't want you to have to be there all day.
I mean, if Brian and Walter are there in the morning, I could reschedule. I mean, I could work my schedule around, do the afternoon.
Oh.
you know what happened? You can man the table, we'll just stand on the side and talk and help carry things after. How's that? Oh, staff.
Okay.
So we're probably around the Trails Committee and the Town Forest Committee, so, you know, they'll help out too,
Yeah.
and,
Okay, I think we're good enough.
Okay, so we've got Walter going at 10:30, Brian going at the beginning and setting up, Shirag and me in the afternoon.
Works.
what's the
And
beginning?
still have me penciled in just in case I can make it, Martha.
Yeah, I get there
Okay.
half.
Obviously, we're getting close on my end.
Right. We
So-
will understand if you can't make it.
Martha, were you going there at 11 or at 12?
I was gonna show up at 12:30.
12:30.
If
So
the
we have
hot-
11 to 12:30 uncovered at this moment.
I'll be there at 11.
If the hot dogs are good, I'll hang around for a while.
Okay.
I just don't want to be committed.
Yeah, but
In either way.
you owe me one.
Okay, so Walter's doing 10:30 to 11:30.
That's correct.
Brian is setting it up at the beginning and staying till what time?
Yeah, I'm shrugging my shoulders. Well, what time is the afternoon crew coming on?
I'm coming at 12:30.
I'll stay to 12:30.
Okay. And then,
12:30?
I'll come in at around
Yeah,
11,
12:30.
11:30. So, yeah.
okay, if you came at 11:30, then you could take over from Walter and there would
Okay.
be two people.
Okay.
I'm just gonna sit under the tent and say, what do you want? So it's easy.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be there. It's probably gonna be a tough year for me. My daughter's getting engaged. There's a lot of things going on. So this is one of those years that you guys are going to do more.
Okay, good to know.
Okay.
All right, we good on that? Joint coordination meeting?
I'm good. So, yeah, so it just says that, you know, we talked about this last week. I think, Mike Hessman, we're definitely gonna have one on the 14th. We had to move that because of, July vacation. So nothing to report.
Violation notices, you want to talk about anything new there, Jack? No. Okay, and then administrative report? Minor project permit?
Yeah, I'm gonna save this till the next meeting, but I wanted to do the same thing that I had done with the tree permit, just to kind of go
Talk
over
through
it,
it.
what I knew about it, so it gets out there that what we're looking for.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
And just so everybody knows, minor project permits are available for a lot of projects if you can get 50 feet away from the wetland line. So some project that's at 35 feet from the wetland line is gonna be an RDA or a notice of intent. But that same exact project, like an above ground pool, if it was at least 50 feet away, it's a minor project permit, which means you fill out an online application, and if you've talked to me first about this project and it's not a surprise, I can usually sign off that day because I know about the project. So it's a very quick avenue, and and the biggest requirement is that the project needs to be located 50
I
feet
think
away.
it's good to talk about it more fully next time. There are a number of project types that are listed, fences, standalone walls.
Yeah.
Above ground pools and what have you, so.
So maybe the next meeting might not be the greatest at the 24th if everyone actually shows up that continue to that night, but we'll find a spot for the minor project permits.
Okay, minutes for approval, 5/27, we just got those, so we can't approve those yet. I don't know if anybody sent any comments in, if so, please do if you have.
I had a question.
Yeah.
About those. I saw that it came to me. I thought it only came to me. Was it blind CC to everybody?
I got a copy.
When I sent it out, is that when people got it?
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I did not.
That's when I got it.
give
That's when I
instructions.
got it too.
When I sent it out?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Okay.
I will correct the stenographer.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. 3 notes before we wrap up. The first is Porch Fest is coming up. And we are gonna be entertaining bands at the pavilion. And did we end up with one at, Let's Homes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So so the pavilion's 100% going to happen. And the Millet Psalms, I'm gonna have to, hopefully Joe Flory could help, but maybe someone else that lives in that area could lend a hand. We need electricity, something like that, but I don't know if I could be in both places and run that, but so we need some other help. So that's,
well, if it's busier last time, I'll need you at Matera to help her, so. That was busy.
as I remember it, when I actually went in to use the bathroom, that's when the car hit the tree, right?
You are correct.
Okay.
I would say that's
I think
driver error. more than
people
anything.
want me there too,
Okay.
tracking the cars.
I don't remember the date offhand, so if you don't, it's online for sure, and for anybody who's here, there's a sign right outside the front doors.
It's June 27th.
There you go. Well, as long as you know that, do you know the hours of operation?
Maybe, give me a second.
Okay, and while you're looking, we will have to set up power cords running up the hill so the bands can plug in. And that was the main thing we did. We don't provide drinking water or anything like that. It's pretty much the facility and power.
It looks like noon to 6.
Yeah. Was it really that long?
Well, maybe, but that doesn't mean that the bands at Matera have to be going that long. That's, I think, the
That's fine.
whole
Okay,
spread.
So there again, we're going to need some volunteers to be at both locations. I will be at Matera for sure. So you have a little bit of time so you can think about it and see if you can free up some of your busy days. Because it's good to have people using the conservation areas. We want to have public involvement. We want people there enjoying the areas. The last one at Matera, people were just really talking up how great the pavilion was. People loved the facility, and that's when it was still new. The grass wasn't even grown in or anything yet. So, and it rained, and people still loved it. So, anyway, so please figure out what you can commit to, because I don't think Chuck is big enough for us to cut him in two and have him both places. All right, next one is we need to get some labor together to help haul the hoses out at Matera, at Bear Meadow, to set it up for the watering. Where are the hoses? Well,
Hoses are in the garage at Matera Cabin, and the meter was put on the hydrant a couple weeks back. So any Friday, I'll come back on a Saturday, I'll come back on a Sunday, but it does take 2 people.
so you think you load them into
It takes at least 2 people if we want, actually, if we want to be creative and try to figure out how to them like set up sprinklers and do that. It's going to take.
So you think you put
4
them
people.
into the vehicle and drive them, or?
No, we just put them in the wheelbarrows and we haul them out.
Okay, but I was actually thinking about getting them from the garage over to Pearl Street.
We just walk through the meadow
Okay. No, look at it.
with the wheelbarrows.
It's your manual labor. That's
Yeah.
good.
No, that's all we do.
Okay, so I don't know if anybody can do that. Anybody from the watering crew, for example?
Yeah, Chuck, if you wanna let me know when you're planning on going over, give me at least 24 hours heads up. I can make my way over there.
But you're not available throughout the week, right? So this would be Saturday or Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe
I'm just looking at the fact that the 20th and the 27th are occupied by Porch Fest and Friends and Family Day. So if you're looking for a Saturday, maybe you want to do it on this Saturday, the 13th.
If it has to be a Saturday. Yeah, I get Rick that that's when you're available. I don't know if anybody else would end up volunteering, but could you make it this Saturday? And could you make it this Saturday?
We could, if we did, could we do it in the morning?
First thing in the morning, I'll be ready.
Okay.
All right, maybe we can get, shout out to Joe, see if he can show up also. I know he's gonna say maybe soccer, but. this is my
So I'll
opportunity.
leave it to you two to coordinate where and when. And the last one is Johnson Woods. There will be a request for certificate of compliance. Part of it is that they have to build a trail. And the owners would like us to look at the trail, even though the trail being satisfactory wouldn't be sufficient for a CLC, but it's a step along the way. By the way, I learned tonight that that mysterious pile of wood chips that we thought was somehow tied to the far end of the path at Les Sommes was actually wood chips for Johnson Woods. A different issue. So we're gonna need to have a site visit out there to walk their trail, look at their trail.
Yeah.
Is there a time frame for when they're looking for us to do that?
It'll be on the next site visit agenda, so it's good that all these, what's coming in on the next agenda have just been continued, so you wouldn't go and see those.
Right.
So there's gonna be time,
So the
Yeah.
next meeting is the 24th, so Monday would be the 22nd.
yeah.
So the 22nd, we'd be going to the new trail at Johnson Woods for
So
the stroll.
The purpose of this site walk is just to approve the trail. We don't have any information
Nothing
on a
more than that.
certificate of compliance. And if we say the trail is sufficiently, has sufficient signage, then they can move on to the next step.
Yeah, I got that. It's not a full compliance. Okay, so I'll put that out the next time we're sending out notes for the next meeting. So that's one for that Monday already. And that's it. Anything else from anybody before we adjourn?
Anyone attending the meeting wants something to say?
I'm just wondering what the result of the select board meeting budget discussion yesterday was.
I had to leave, actually, so Chuck and I were here. We talked at length. There was pretty immediate pushback on the bench, as much as anything, because the number we asked for more or less coincided with the overage they had from all the committee's requests. So it was a nice solution to the overall situation. So I don't know if we have a final answer yet. I think they gave us a couple of weeks to look into a warranty situation on the bench. But that's where it appears to be going.
Yeah, so my summary of what happened was, they've been doing this a couple of years. I mean, Trails Committee has always asked for 5,000. Conservation has fluctuated. We've asked for more than 10, usually gotten far less, and like around 6. And the historical usually asks for 1,500, I thought, or something a lot less.
Something like that.
And so there was a couple of changes, and the town forest has asked for all 20,000, and I thought they did once. Maybe that was just a draft I saw. And this time, town forest asked for 10,000, but it was for a very similar process as our habitat study at Bear Meadow, which cost us like 8,000 something. And so 10,000, even though they don't have any estimates, they kind of estimate themselves, talking to their forester and whoever, seems to be an appropriate amount of money. And I think that the select board dug that project. They were digging it. They liked that project. They thought it was great. There wasn't much pushback on all 10 going to them, or the Historical Society. And then it was just us. Did I miss anyone?
No, yeah. And the other,
Trails Committee, no pushback, but I think that we got pushback on this Hollywood benches. I have to say, because I think people use them at their own houses and they have their own experiences with them. And, you know, having them at Millette Soms and Morgan, we have, these things have gotten hot in the sun and people have sat on them and the legs have bent underneath themselves. And so I don't know if that was hard to believe or not, but they encouraged us to look into the warranty, which I did today, and I have that process started. But that brings up another problem, which I didn't want to use these benches at all, because what ends up happening is someone puts in a C-click fix or reaches out to town, and I have to get up immediately, get the bench out of there before someone gets hurt. So that can't happen, or that is hard when it happens. And of course, we don't want to put out anything that's going to be a problem. And so that's why we jumped up to this other bench, which is significantly more. It's a $2,000 bench, but we put it in once and it stays there. So getting back to these Hollywood benches, I looked into it. It looks like they will look into our warranty. There's a couple of problems, such as the code that's supposed to be on the bottom of the benches is made out of paper and just stuck to the bottom. And I don't think it's on one of the benches. And they said they're gonna try to work through that. And the other thing, which is even a bigger problem, is that we should definitely put out a cement slab. And instead of being on the gravel and loose soil, if it had like a stable surface, it would last longer. And I was thinking about that, but like, how do people use it at their homes? Well, we're kind of using it out in a wooded area, and it's digging in every day when someone sits on it, and it's getting a lot of use. So I did put together a update, and we'll see if I get to send it to the select board or not. But it has the pictures of the old benches that had bent under, and just what's been happening and what our thought process is on having a slab. And the slab wouldn't go to waste, because the slab is also needed if we ever put the $2,000 benches there. And it sounds like like the $2,000. It sounds like it's a very expensive bench. No, this is what they cost. This is we tried to get this price down for an aluminum bench with what's that called? Composite wood planks. And this is just what they cost.
It is a substantial bench, but they do last. And the breakdown of 2,000 is the bench is 1,650.
Not this year. The bench is 2,000.
The bench was 1,650 and the slab was 350. Apparently it's more, but it wasn't just.
Yeah, we just got the new bids on the benches, and they're around $2,000 each, so they've gone up by $400.
So the rest of the context is that we had asked for $6,950 altogether. There were 3 major components. There were smaller pieces as well. We asked for budget to put in a water line at the parking lot on Grove Street, the old Lot 5 down there, running from the street towards the hill where we intend to plant.
Yeah, but none of those things were an issue. It's like, I
No,
mean,
I'm
we
telling
don't have
you,
to go
they've
through
done
each
the
one of
budget.
them, but the only thing they wanted to take out is the bench. And so that's what we tried to address.
Just give them a sense for what else was in the budget.
Okay, well, that's good. Do you remember it all?
I did until you talked.
Good, then I'll take over. No, you're gonna go ahead.
No, I actually have it written down. There was some money in there for educational materials to support the intern who we have starting Monday. So
That's not, no, it's not. We have educational material, not for the intern. The intern, all of that proceeds are
Oh, that's
coming
what
out
you
of
said.
another budget. That's
okay,
it.
so why don't you go through and get that really off?
Yeah, I don't wanna, cause I know that like,
Don't want to confuse
yeah,
people.
when Chris is on the line, I don't wanna like mix budgets, so. I don't exactly know everything that was in there, but I know that our request for $5,600 was for some educational material, but what we were doing with that is we were, every year we have signs that come down at Millette Soms and Morgan. The kiosks that were provided through the bid from T Fords are not enclosed, so we have to get different signage. The signage is $70 at least each. We're looking for some new signage there. We're looking for signage out at Bear Meadow. We're looking for some bench, some fence sections at Bear Meadow, just to keep people from walking through the center of the field, because we want to establish that 3-acre habitat and without being disrupted by actually fragmenting it. And so people have slowed down a lot, but there's still a trail, so we wanted to get to that. You can take over if you have it.
I don't have it with me apparently.
Yeah, so the long and short of it is, to our town manager's benefit, Jane Wellman. She is going to look into the budget again. She didn't put a lot of hope into that to see if she could come up with some more money. It's a hope. I'm not expecting any money to be found. And so there's gonna have to be some cuts with everyone's budget. And last thing is we have to go to the next meeting, or that's when they'll talk about it again at the next select board meeting. And their postponement was in order for Jane to take a look at what's out there and if any other ideas could come up. And she, happy to do it. She was, wanted to look into it. I think it just like she did the last year, she had looked into it for a couple of people asking for budgets, and we were one of them. So that's the report, to be determined at our next select board meeting.
Okay. Anybody else, anything else they want to bring up? All right. Can I have a motion to adjourn at 8:33?
Sound is off.
I move to adjourn at 8:33.
Talbot seconds, Walter Talbot's in favor.
All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone,
Good night.
and good night.
Thank you. Thanks for staying.
Yeah.